Um, Welcome to my presentation on my book, Understanding the Self. Actually, this book, Understanding the Self, was initially printed for trial, for my students only. And then after that, it leveled up into a published form. And this will be released by CNE Publishing for Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So I feel honored to be one of the CNE Publishing's authors. With the first book I had with CNE, I was, I feel again honored that it became bestseller. I was informed by CNE Publishing about it, and I'm grateful for that. And I thank the Lord for that blessing. And for this second book, Understanding the Self, this is actually for the tertiary level, general education. So let me present to you what the book is all about. Okay, so the course deals with the nature of identity as well as the factors and forces that affect the development and maintenance of personal identity. And that the directive to know oneself has inspired countless and varied ways to comply. Basically, I'm presenting to you what the Commission on Higher Education has in terms of the content expected for its syllabus. And to continue, it has a directive. The directive to know oneself has inspired countless and varied ways to comply. Among the questions that everyone had to grapple with at one time or the other is who I am, or who am I? Who am I? At no other period in this question asked more urgently than in adolescence, traditionally believed to be a time of vulnerability and great possibility. Issues of self and identity are among the most critical for the young people. This course is intended to facilitate exploration of the issues and concerns regarding the self and identity to arrive at a better understanding of oneself. A lot of things are going on in an adolescent life, and I'm glad the Commission on Higher Education is able to uh, come up with a program, with a course that will respond to this need of our young people. And then to meet this goal, by stressing the integration of the personal with the academic, on integration of the personal with the academic, contextualizing matters discussed in the classroom and the everyday experiences of students, making learning whole, for better learning and generating new appreciation for the learning process and developing more critical and reflective attitude. We're hoping this for our students while enabling them to manage and improve themselves to attain a better quality of life. I always tell my students that whatever we want in the future is really up to us this time in our life, and the engagement that they want to do with our with the course understanding the self depends on their extent of involvement. Okay, so unit one, the self from various perspectives. What would we expect in this uh, part? The objectives at the end of this unit one, at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to discuss different representations and conceptualizations of the self from various disciplinary perspectives. And the students will engage in activities that will initially lead them to come up with concepts about themselves, examine the different influences, factors, and forces that shape the self, and explore how the self has been represented across different disciplines and perspectives, and come up with insights and reflections based from activities and concepts drawn out from varied perspectives. You see, it's always a message that I bring to my students. I tell them that learning in the classroom is lacking all those concepts if they're not able to reflect upon them. So parang head level lang kulang yun. If it will reach the heart, that's much better. After that, if they are able to translate it into an action, a positive action that will bring in a lot of difference in the lives of others and of course themselves, no, it will be a much better, no, a very good package of learning. So talagang importante na from experience, by reflection, and the better would be that the best would be that they're able to translate it into a positive action. In fact, what would be good would be they become a solution to the problems in the community. Now, welcome to Unit 1. It says um, the title is The Self from Various Perspectives. Now, the students will be asked to get to know some basic things about themselves, including their name, and they will also be led into understanding the different constructs of the self from various disciplinary perspectives, such as philosophy, sociology, and psychology, as well as more traditional divisions between East and West, each seeking to provide answers to the difficult but essential question of what is the self, no? And raising, among other questions, is there even such a construct, the self? Meron ba yan, no? Please note that getting to know, no, it's actually, no, a message to the students, no, that getting to know themselves entails interest so that they will be able to plunge into the inter experiences that this unit is making them undergo. No? Again, they have to be, as teachers, no, we have to facilitate so that they will be interested, no, to be engaged in the experience. So chapters that would comprise, no, Unit 1. Chapter 1 is the basic of the self. Chapter 2, the philosophical concept of the self. Chapter 3, the sociological perspective of the self. Chapter 4, anthropological self. Chapter 5 is the psychological perspective of the self. And chapter 6 is the self in the Western and Oriental Eastern thought. So, okay, so Unit 2 then, it's called Unpacking the Self. This time, like unpacking the self. And at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to explore different aspects of the self, such as their sexuality and identity. They will engage in activities and experiences that would lead them to a deepened insights and reflections, examine themselves against different aspects of self discussed in class, and hopefully come up with deepened insights and reflections based from activities and concepts drawn from varied perspectives. Okay, so welcome to Unit 2, no? Unpacking the self, and the students will be asked to explore some of the various aspects that make up the self, such as the physical self, sexual self, the material self, economic self, spiritual self, political self, and the digital self. This unit can be very challenging to the students insofar as it would challenge their maturity level in facing those highly sensitive aspects of themselves, no, specifically sa sexuality. And they can be highly, no, affected, no, they're asked to continue to engage and be interested, no, to try to rewrite and craft the new self, no, the new self that is waiting to be uncovered, no, at the end of the course. So the chapters that would comprise Unit 2 are the following. Chapter 7, the physical self. Chapter 8, the sexual self. The material self for Chapter 9. Chapter 10 is the spiritual self. And then Chapter 11 is the political self. And Chapter 12 is the digital self. Okay, so Unit 3 is about managing and caring for the self. No, the objectives are the following. No? At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to, no, understand the different concepts on how to manage and care for different aspects of themselves. They will engage in varied activities and experiences that will lead to acquisition of skills that may enhance managing and caring for the self, and come up with a deepened insights and reflection based from the activities and concepts drawn out from varied perspectives. Okay, so welcome to Unit 3, and that is Managing and Caring for the Self. This unit will lead the students to manage themselves to become a better students. Ito yung mga topics, no? Tapos, setting goals for success and taking charge of oneself. The unit will also lead the students into practical application of the concepts discussed in this course, and will enable them to engage in varied activities that will assess assess learning styles, experiences including the exploration of self-regulated learning, goal setting, and self-care. And so, no, it is noted, no, it should be noted that this aspect of themselves has to be explored, no, as they look forward to finishing life and be part of the world of young professionals. These things can be part of their lifetime ventures that they need to try to balance, no, because they need to balance work and life also, no, and never lose sight of the goal to know themselves, to continue getting to know themselves and really be interested. You know, at times, no, it's kind of boring, like getting to know the self, and then you get to yawn because you're bored. No? It's journeying the self inside. No, it's the longest journey. The journey inside is can be the longest journey, but it is a very interesting. We have to be very interested, no? Because it would be difficult to journey with another human being if the self is not being taken care of. So the chapters for Unit 3 is Chapter 13, Managing to be a Better Student, Chapter 14, Setting Goals for Success, and Chapter 15, Taking Charge of Oneself. Now, there is Unit 4. No, this is a unique component to my self-portfolio, a synthesis from personal journey. No? The objectives are as follows. No? The students are expected to put together the new self that they have discovered after their journey from chapter to chapter. And also, they will to gain a much better perspectives about themselves and to commit themselves to continually assess or evaluate themselves to grow even more. It's a commitment talaga. If you want to grow, it's really something that you need to be consistent, no, in the process. So welcome to Unit 4. The title is My Self-Portfolio, a Synthesis. This part is a unique component of this course since this will put together or synthesize the entire journey of search towards understanding. No? It is a compilation of output. However, the students have an option to artistically present this according to their own way of doing it without losing sight of the goal of creating a snapshot of themselves, no, while they traverse from one chapter to another. They're given the freedom, no, to engage in this unit, no, to visualize a new person in them, perhaps the new self, no, long buried and was never given the chance to come out for a long time, no, due to some issues that they may not be aware, no, so that this may have stopped them, no, from coming out. No. We're telling them that to note that the growth is a continuous process. So there is this instruction no, for them to do, no, the conduct of Unit 4, and that they are going to follow no, in the book. There are instructions that they need to follow on how to go about the entire project, no, the output that they're going to do before the end of the course, before they will finish the course. Understanding to close this, each chapter is presented and serves as a guide of transition until they reach the last chapter. It will also give them an idea that each chapter will provide information that will make them understand themselves even more. Okay, the figure in the next page, no, it's like it's like we'll give a sketch of a person presented like a puzzle. Maybe this implies that. No, look at that. No, this implies that each chapter will hopefully add up. No, it's like a puzzle, and that each chapter is presented in this manner. No, so hopefully each chapter is like a piece of that puzzle. No, from chapter 1 to chapter 15. This is actually, each chapter is a piece of that puzzle, which will hopefully be parang they're creating a snapshot of themselves, so at the end of the course. Okay, so it's my desire as the author, so that students will fully engage in the course, and that they will take each chapter by heart in order to accomplish the objectives set for them to direct the course towards, the students search to get a grasp of themselves even more and understand themselves better in their current state. Okay, so this is the book, Understanding the Self, and you may ask, what makes this book highly useful for both teachers and students? Ano bang edge ng book na ito? with other. I know that this when I conceptualize, before I finally input, all the things in the book, I had to visualize what I would want for the student at the end, of the course. And so, ano bang kung ano, ano bang nandito, the book is consistent, highly consistent, aligned to the course syllabus from the Commission on Higher Education. And then the unique component, presenting each chapter like a piece of a puzzle, providing piece of information about the set. And then there is this synopsis, at the end of the journey. And this is really, highly experiential, because there are activities that they will be engaged in, in between every after discussions. There will be, they will put life, into the concepts. Okay. So unique component again is that for students and teachers, easy use of the book. I prepared this, actually, for students, of course, there is a full and detailed discussion that is presented in the book, and there is activities, and for the discussions are also, activities for the discussions are also provided, may mga processing questions, reflection, chapter assessment, for the discussions. Okay, so, and for the teacher, there is a copy of the textbook, of course, an enhanced teacher's manual with answer key, and there is a PowerPoint, chapter for each chapters from introduction or chapters 1 to 15, meron tayong PowerPoint presentation done. And then there is a Facebook page, that will be provided, and the YouTube channel, by me, I prepared a YouTube channel so that I can input updates related to the book, and there will be a sample video presentations I made, So if you will request for a video that I did, where I personally discussed each chapter, you may request that from CNE Publishing. I'll give a copy to my publisher, video discussions to my students, so that you would have an idea how I went, what I did with my discussions. Actually, it's just a simple discussions, but at least you will get an idea what I did with it. You can come up here, feel free, as a teacher or professor of the course, you are free to deliver however you want it to deliver. Okay, so thank you very much. That's all. Unless you can may post questions herein. If you're a teacher, post questions. If you're a student, then you may also post your questions or concerns. Thank you, and God bless you all.